Thank you all for being here, being engaged in politics. Been some very robust discussions already, as we can see. It's good to see that you're open-minded enough to seek other opinions and other viewpoints today. So let me start by saying that the Animal Justice Party that I represent work on the basics of four main principles. These principles we call KERN. They stand for kindness, equality, rationality and non-violence. So we're a party of kindness to all. Some people say that politics can be a tough game. It doesn't have to be. If the kindness is there and the bullying is taken away, then the politics doesn't have to be a tough game. We use these principles to determine our policies, our positions and our decisions. So we don't really think we'll get in Robertson. I don't think I'll get in Robertson, not by a snowflake's hell and chance. But the point is, we use the preferential voting system. So quite often people are very disillusioned with politics and politicians. They might call them liars or whatever. They'll make all sorts of claims, and the problem comes back to their number one vote. So in Robertson, it's pretty typical of the electorate to vote for 81% at last election for Liberal and Labor, 8% for Greens, so it's 89% were voting for the three parties, and 11% for the rest of the also-rans, myself included. And as you can see, I'm under no illusions of grandeur or anything like that, because I know the facts and the statistics. So when you have the statistics like that, and you see that other candidates are fighting for that 11%, they all want your number one vote, because your number one vote counts to make a difference, and then it overflows to your second choice or third choice or fourth choice, whatever it is, until you get down to one of the major parties. So us smaller parties, we're all standing because we agree on the importance of the democratic process. We are all here with our differences, but we're all happy. We all aren't happy with certain things that the government are doing, and we want to change that. If you want to change that, you've got to be crazy to keep voting the 81% for Liberal or Labor. Have a first choice that makes sense on policies, not on emotions. I'm sure that if you look up the AJP policies, the Animal Justice Party policies, you will see that those policies are around kindness, equality, rationality and non-violence. So we might get called tree huggers or animal cuddlers or whatever, and you know what? If you call me that, I won't be insulted, because what's so hard about cuddling an animal? Hugging a tree, the amount of harm I'm doing to that bark. One of the many issues I'm standing for and want to help if we get into the Senate with your number one vote is a federal ICAC. Because voters should insist on this. If you're sick of politicians lying to you, if you're worried about corruption, if you need to vote for an honest candidate and an honest party, one that is based on ethics, the animal ethics, the environmental ethics, the ethics around people and Indigenous policies, then the Animal Justice Party, in my view, is an excellent party to vote for as a first choice. The ethics extends to from animal welfare in the live export industry, where sheep and cattle are shipped over to the Middle East in the Northern Hemisphere in their summer, in sweating in their fur and leather coats, getting seasick, vomiting, being kept knee deep in their own waste in small holding pens for weeks, until such time as they get off the ships, only to face an inhumane slaughter. If you want ethics in politics, you should not be supporting a government who is supporting that practice. At the moment, both major parties are supporting live export. There's a rally down in Sydney today against the live export death ships, we call them. So let me briefly explain why an animal rights...
Time, Patrick.
Time's up already?
Well, wrap up on those points.
No, what I'll do, I'll share the time with other candidates. I won't be selfish, and I can just field some questions now, because I could talk about this for a long time. Yeah.
The Animal Justice Party sounds very much like a one issue party. What would be your party's stance on such things as the environment, the economy, and education, for example?
We actually have a lot of policies, and I will encourage everyone here to look at our policies on our website. So when it comes to the environment, what I was going to say before was the animal agriculture industry clears off a whole lot of land with trees in it that have animals, which are their homes. They knock them down, they're homeless. The animals then get predated upon by predators, wild cats, dogs, foxes. The environmental impact of animal agriculture with the methane emissions. Methane from cows is 80 more times potent as a greenhouse gas than CO2. Most people aren't aware of that. The fertiliser they put on the soil to grow the crops that they eventually feed the cattle, that nitrous oxide goes into the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas, which is 300 times more potent than CO2. Everyone is talking about CO2, but they're not talking about methane, nitrous oxide going into the atmosphere.
What about education and health, for example?
Yep. I'll go to education first. Education is an extremely important position to have. We have a position statement on that rather than a policy statement. Being the Animal Justice Party, we have positions and policies. The education that you can make by educating one person in a household that can grow up and change that person's life should be absolutely supported. So if you can educate one person, that can change their life. It can break the dependence on social welfare for the generational social welfare. As for the last point, it was health. Look, we all love to eat meat. It tastes great. It's full of the saturated fat. The leading causes of death in this country are basically lifestyle choices. Heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, liver disease, kidney cancer, prostate cancer. Most of those come back to diet-related diseases. Yes, we all love to eat meat, if only there were alternatives available to that. Surprise, surprise, there is. You do not have to eat animal products or wear animal products to today in these modern times. There are viable alternatives available, and if you want to save your health, save your animals, save the planet, the environment, the smart choice would be to leave the animals off your plate.
You talked a lot about preference votes, the importance of that. So I guess the obvious question is, have you determined who you're going to give your preferences to, and would it be worth Gordon or Lucy inviting you for a coffee?
As a matter of fact, our president, Angela Pollard, received a call from the Labor Party during the week, and the Labor Party said, you know, would you want to do some sort of preference swap deal? We are a party that don't really take sides. We will work with Liberal, with Labor, with any party based on our core principles of kindness, equality, rationality and non-violence. The first question that Angela, our president, said was, what are you going to do for the animals and the environment? Come back to us when you've got something. So they called back and they had a list of certain things, which I'm not privy to that list. So then Angela said, yes, in these key seats, what we will do, we will put our preferences on the how to vote cards to Labor, and Labor will preference us as there is going to be a positive outcome for the environment and the animals on a second preference Labor. Mind you, you are all free to vote whichever way you like, but there are our recommendations. Then the rest of the how to vote sheet I've done on policies. I've put the Indigenous Party third, and then fourth I've put Greens, Greens and some medical information party, and then I've put I think Lucy, One Nation, and then I think maybe I'm trying to go off a letter here. You're about number 8, I think. Sorry, and 10, 11 down there. So yeah, Clive's number 10. So yeah.